get it.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hi, everybody.
Hooray!
Coming off a win. It's been so long.
You know what? It's all fixed.
None of it matters anymore.
Changed how I feel.
None of it matters.
I think it's because of you, Adam.
Is it because of me?
You're undefeated on Leafs games on Mondays.
Jesse, is that the BetMGM big story?
What?
That I'm undefeated on Mondays.
Yeah.
It should
Yeah,
be.
it is.
That's coming up, by the way.
And we're going right into it now.
No, we're not.
If the Leafs are playing on Monday but not in the Amazon game, are you streaming the Leafs?
That's a good question. I mean, is that a thing? I think every Amazon game, every Monday that they play, Amazon is streaming.
I want to say there's a
I don't know.
handful. I
Is
think
there?
There's a small
Yeah.
handful.
I think you should just do the Leafs.
I will do the Leafs if they're playing Monday. Yeah,
Right?
sure.
Right? I know the thing about your stream is I'm streaming the Amazon game, but
Well,
if there's other games on the Monday and it's one of them's the Leafs.
It's not really. It just happens to be there. You know, Monday Night Hockey is the official, it's like a national night now in a way that it never was, because for a while there they tried to make Sunday a hockey night, which was stupid because it's the NFL night. And so let's go look at the schedule here. I'm looking at the schedule. We got the double Mondays. I thought there was only 6 that were going to end up on Amazon. No Mondays for the Leafs in November.
They
One
do spread it out pretty good.
one in December against Chicago, and I don't know if Amazon has that or not.
So there you go. That might be the first one.
Oh, it's Prime. No, that's Prime.
Oh.
There's Prime on it. Wow.
All right.
That would have been good. And then there's another Prime one in January, and that would have probably been it for the season.
It's December 23rd. You skipped over that one.
December 23rd.
December 23rd,
Yeah.
the Leafs are playing Winnipeg. That is not a Prime game. That's a TSN game.
Oh.
So
I'll be doing the team.
Because it's at, I think, 2 in the afternoon.
it is at 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
December
going.
23rd. Oh, okay. There you go. I think you should probably do the Leafs
I'll
game.
stream that one.
Amazing.
And also, there's a Sportsnet Ontario one on the 10th of March against Utah. And so I'll do that one. And there's a few other Prime Mondays in there. So yeah.
Okay.
Then I will be doing 8 Leaf games this year. You can expect them to go 8-0-0.
Because-
Kind of like the Jets.
Yeah, I don't want you to break that streak. We need to keep it going.
No, I think so. And
Yeah.
you know what? There were a lot of people asking in the chat last night, and specifically, Steve, is it time for you to yield Leaf games to me? Because they never lose.
I did.
They never lose when it's me. So
I said that verbatim.
You know
Have you
what?
had a win yet this season?
I think so.
First Saturday was a win, wasn't it?
Oh, first Saturday. Yeah.
First Saturday, who did they
Because you did the Rangers, they lost. That was a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they won their second
then-
game. Now I already forget who it was against. I know they lost. I
I'm
guess they're
looking
1
it up.
and 2. Or 1-1-1.
1-1.
Was it not Pittsburgh? It was Pittsburgh.
There it is.
Because Boston they lost, Rangers
Yeah.
they lost, and then Pittsburgh they won.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've seen one victory.
1-1-1. I'm Bettman 500. Here we go.
Yeah. And you've got no Saturday game this week.
Do I not?
No, you don't. The Leafs do not play. Oh, wait. No, that's just the November calendar switchover. You
skewing-
do have a Saturday game, and it's St. Louis.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Redemption against St. Louis, baby.
I was
don't
like,
know why
I thought November had the weird schedule. Okay.
No, November.
Yeah, the 23rd, there's no Saturday game.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to Halifax.
Yes. Have you announced that yet?
Yes.
Okay, where?
Halifax.
You just.
Oh,
didn't-
like where have I?
No, like on this show. Have we said that?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
We
I'm
have.
not sure. I know.
Book tour.
Halifax.
Book tour.
What,
Yeah.
You're doing Micmac Mall, and you're doing
boy.
Dartmouth Crossing. Are you
Oh
not?
my God. Oh, holy God.
I'm pretty sure it's Micmac Mall and Dartmouth
Let
Crossing.
me-
Shout out.
let me-
represent.
I don't think have we gone over this on the show?
I'm
That it's
pretty sure we
confirmed?
have.
Okay.
Okay, November 22nd, Indigo Halifax, 540 Spring Garden Road at 7 Atlantic. And then the next day, Chapters Dartmouth, 41 Micmac Boulevard.
That's Micmac Mall.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Spring Garden, by the way, is like the cool street in Halifax. It's like where you want to. It's where you want to. You know, Spring Garden, baby. Like that's where you want to be, or at least it used to be.
Do you have any plans for when you're out there besides the
Sign
signings?
books.
Yeah, besides the signings. Do you have any things planned already?
I understand. I think there's a Mooseheads game.
You should go.
One of the if I'm available for a Mooseheads game, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I have never
nice.
been to a live QMJHL game
That would be cool.
outside of the Memorial Cup.
I'm very jealous of you. I love Halifax, and I wish we were going out there for a show. Alas, not in the budget this year.
No.
But we will definitely make that happen at some point. Very, very cool. And we do have a live show ourselves to announce. Shoeless Joe's, baby, November 12th. So
just show up at a random Shoeless Joe's and hopefully you pick the right one.
Yeah, no, it's Shoeless Joe's 249 Queens Quay. So we're gonna be right on the water, and it's a Leafs Sens game, and it's 6 p.m. show time, 7 p.m. game time, $10 for your ticket, which gets you a guaranteed spot, or you can pay at the door, and the URL for that to buy the tickets right now is in the description. Whether or not you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple, it's always in the description.
Now this is important. I haven't looked this location up. Is this west of Yonge?
It is west of Yonge.
All right, best of luck, boys.
Yeah.
All right, have fun with that show, boys.
That's Shoeless Joe's, a true Canadian sports grill. This is one of their best locations. It's right near Scotiabank Arena. So it's perfect for if you are going to a game. Look at that lovely picture of us. They're so cute. Where if you're going to a game, this is the Shoeless Joe's to go to because it's got kind of like that perfect walking distance. We're very excited about this. This is going to be the first of a few Shoeless Joe's shows that we're doing over the next year, and it's going to be all over Ontario, which is awesome too. So we're very, very excited.
I'm excited.
Also, they also
Long
recommend
event, 5 to 10. Oh my goodness!
One of the
You're
things,
there all day.
If you see a win, a lot of people just go home, and the better thing to do is to go out and then go home because the traffic's crazy.
Yes.
So if you're feeling a little amped up after a Leafs victory, they also recommend, hey, come to this Shoeless Joe's, hang out, let traffic go, and then you can go.
That is easily the veteran move.
It is the vet move.
100%.
You got to expect to be out till midnight because I have a friend of mine that lives on the Esplanade, which is near where the Leafs play. And to get out onto Lakeshore from their place on the Esplanade, to walk is 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
To drive the other day, it was 50.
Hey, you ever spend a bunch of money on a really good night and they win and you're so excited? Get ready for the excitement to leave your body as you travel 2 city blocks over the next 45 minutes.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
So,
or you can go to a fun place with fun people and have fun chicken fingers.
Exactly.
What if you took transit?
Nah.
It's actually really easy to leave via transit.
Nah.
Scotiabank Arena.
Nah.
You can get anywhere.
It's Go Transit, not Via Transit.
You can take the go trains
Ontario
leaving
transit joke.
very often after the games. The subway, you squeeze onto the first one, but like after that, they're usually clear. Then you can just walk somewhere.
Okay, but if you didn't, if you drove,
Why?
go to Shoeless Joe's.
I'm saying plan ahead. Maybe take transit.
You know what?
Yeah, no, you should take transit.
I also want to say this is our first show since our Oshawa Generals live. And it was an amazing, amazing night. Thank you to everybody who came. And
I have not recovered in the slightest.
the live show was awesome afterwards at Bond Street. So if you live out in Oshawa or in Durham region, definitely check that place out. It's amazing. The Jennies were spectacular. It was so fun to work with them. And yes, we do have more OHL dates to announce, but not yet. We're not talking about it yet.
A lot of string lights in downtown Oshawa. They really upgraded.
We love a string light.
Yeah.
We were walking downtown amongst all the string lights, and there was a Quiznos. And Quiznos has been shut down for a long time. And Justin and Maddie got so excited.
Wait, is it an open Quiznos?
And then we walked a little closer to the Quiznos, and we get there, and we're like, we're getting Quiznos. It's been shut down for so long. And this one was also shut down.
Oh yeah.
They just
I think
left.
the brand's gone.
They
right?
left all of the facade up in outside of the arena, and they did not get their Quiznos.
I'm cheering for Oshawa big time because it's a huge combination of really, really old stuff that somehow hung on throughout all the years, a bunch of really new gentrified stuff, and stuff that's just sitting empty.
Just dilapidated.
Yeah.
Like it's
But you know what there is there?
They're coming back.
Yeah,
You know what there
it's
is there?
really up and coming.
There's
though.
space. There's space
Yeah.
to be creative and do things. Like one of the I was talking to the guy that owns Bond Street, which is a big event center building, coffee house, restaurant, and like Offset played there. We talked about that, right?
Yep.
We played underneath where Offset played. And like he's like, yeah, this used to be where the union employees met. And like this is a whole General Motors thing. And I'm like, man, there's like he's come in and him and his family have taken over this building, cleaned it up. It looks amazing.
I didn't
and
want
I'm like, man, like if we were smart business people, well, no, we still wouldn't do it all the way out
Sorry,
there.
if we were
Steve
smart
would've
business
liked it.
people and had lots of money.
No, but what I mean is like there's so much space to do studios and other things like that, right? And you can make the drive to Toronto.
It's starting to fill out because of a lot of schools are expanding out that way, and there's a lot of people like myself who grew up in the Toronto city limits who are like, I can't afford to live here anymore. Oh, okay, let's go to Oshawa.
Yeah.
And there's a big expansion out that way.
And the string lights came with you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little like food hall kind of next to the arena. I was like, this is such a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, it just people, there was like a big sign, like, come here before the game and all this stuff. And it's brand new. And there's a lot of just brand new spots, but then it's mixed in with everything else. But soon all of those places that are run down will be brand new spots and the city will be very nice.
Go look at pictures of me before I moved to Oshawa and after. Underrated food scene.
Good place to eat. Good place to eat. All right, so we really enjoyed that. You know what, boys? I think we should just do the BetMGM big story now. Should we get it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So Marc-Andre Fleury is due to make his final stop in Pittsburgh, final start in Pittsburgh, stop and start with the Minnesota Wild today. And it's, I think the Penguins have already put out on their social media accounts like some of the pranks that he pulled when he was with the team. And there's going to be a touching tribute tonight. And this is going to be a really nice kind of tour for him to end on certain dates. And here's my question, though. Is it like an automatic win for the Minnesota Wild because he's going to play like crazy?
Oh, my God.
And the Penguins are bad right now.
Fleury is... he's tricky, right? He's one of the older goaltenders in the entire NHL. He might be the oldest. His numbers aren't always exactly what they used to be. When he's in top form, like he's still crazy. He's still so good when he's in top form. I don't think Sid or Gino are getting one.
Oh,
that's what I'm looking at. There's no way he's letting them beat him in his final game against them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Now they currently sit third in their division. Now they've played a game less than the Jets and the Stars, and they're only 2 points behind the Stars. And the Jets are 8-1-0, as we know, because the Leafs beat them. And yet, because it's early season, the Wild are really only 4 points behind them, which goes to show how well the Wild have played.
I would say the Wild and the Blues are like two of the teams in the league where anything could happen.
Yes.
I think to their season. They could finish in a divisional playoff spot. They could be a wild card team. They could potentially be in
Top
the lottery
10 pick.
conversation.
Yeah.
Anything could happen.
Jesse?
And I would believe it.
Jesse, do you think that are you betting Sid or Gino to score tonight?
No, neither of them.
Neither of them.
One thing I was looking at for the bets was how can I make money of this, first of all? Marc-Andre for his last game, he's going to make a whole bunch of saves. He's going to be on top of his game. Last game in Pittsburgh, I should say. The over-under on his saves for tonight are 27.5. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to probably make a whole bunch of saves, but do I think Pittsburgh is going to fire 28-plus shots on him tonight?
What's their shot average?
Where I'm like, I don't know where I should lean on the over or the under. Steve, if you were to make this bet on the over or the under, 27.5 saves for Fleury tonight, where are you leaning?
I don't need this menu. No, I don't. I already know just what I want. I'm taking the over. Give me the over.
So you believe Pittsburgh's going to be shooting a ton and he's going to make
the lights out.
Okay.
Pew, pew, pew.
Adam?
I think Pittsburgh's going to be shooting a lot. They have scored almost as many goals as the Toronto Maple Leafs this year. The problem with the Penguins is they've allowed their goal differential is -13.
Yeah, goaltending and defense. Yeah.
It's a bit early.
They need Eric Carlson to care. They need him. I know he's like, it's all badass when he has that cool quote in The Athletic. Like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. Like, your team sucks, dude, and you're giving the puck away a lot. Maybe care a little.
Didn't he follow that game up with a -3?
Yeah, he did.
Can I hear your Eric
not
Carlson
good right now.
impression again?
And first off, you got to look like D'Artagnan to pull it off properly, right?
And you got to flip your hair.
Oh, I don't. Media could say whatever they want. I'm Eric Carlson. It's like, no, man, stop. It's not. It's only cool when you're winning. It's only cool when you're winning, dude. When I saw that quote, like everybody's like, he's badass. I was like, no, he's not. He's also tanking my freaking team. In fantasy.
We found it. We found
really
it.
upset.
There we go.
We got it.
And Adam, you guys are both on the over?
I'm on the over. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm on the under.
Okay, so.
Now I know where I should bet.
All right, that is the BetMGM big story. Don't forget, BetMGM is an official partner of the NHL in Canada, and they're the king of sportsbooks. Check them out, betmgm.com/day. I have never in my life experienced an October 28th game that meant more.
We changed the.
Don't
we
lie.
changed when we recorded our show.
Don't lie.
In part due to that.
We also were leaving the
Steve was
venue at 1
tired.
a.m. going.
I was
pretty tired.
fucking. I was so tired. Holy shit.
But there were, you know what? It actually made sense that we did this, and it's the stakes, right? Okay, so the Leafs go into this, and their record is 4-4-1, which is the same record as everybody in their division, save the teams from Florida. Every team in the division were 4-4-1, except for one team, which were 4-4-0.
Ooh.
Every team. And all of them are bad except for Boston and Toronto, who I think eventually will be good. The rest of them, I don't
Even the
think so.
Panthers, they're ass.
No, the Panthers and Tampa had different records. They were not a
ass.
part of that.
They're ass.
I just said that.
Ass.
Now, the Winnipeg Jets are going after a piece of history that the Leafs share with the Buffalo Sabres, which is a 10-0-0 start to start a season. The Leafs did it in 93-94. Who cares when the Sabres did it? No, I'm kidding. I actually don't know when the Sabres did it.
We did it last show.
The Sabres did it when they
that
were
was a
good.
crazy team. I believe both those teams went to the conference final.
There you go. Leafs got pumped by Vancouver in that conference final. No one talks about it, but it was palpable.
Sabres lost to the Sens.
So you go into this, and not only is it a 4-4-1 record, which is overly magnified because we're looking at the first month of the season and everything's sort of out of whack, but it's Toronto coming off of 3 objectively bad losses.
Yes.
Terrible loss versus Columbus. I would say bad loss versus St. Louis, and I would say you deserved it, and it wasn't horrible against Boston. But it was horrible against Columbus, right? Like, we're grading on a curve here. There's a
It was so much of the Bruins series in a nutshell, I thought. Like, the Leafs did find a way, well, late in the series, to keep games close against them, but they were the second best team.
Right. And so you could argue for both of these teams, so far, this is the most important game of their season. And not every week do you get to say that.
Yeah.
The Jets were really going for history. They hate the Leafs. The Leafs hate the Jets, right?
Yep.
And the Leafs come out, and what do?
They slaughter them. It's the best period of hockey, the best first half of a game they've had, period, this season.
When have we ever got to say the Leafs started a game on time?
They started a game on time and kept their foot on the gas until they completely ran out of gas.
Well, I don't know. I don't think they ran out of gas. I think there's some. We'll talk about what happened in the second and third.
Yes.
But that first period for me, guys, like one of the things that drove me nuts about the Keefe Leafs was they would start 5 to 7 minutes in after a bad game, and it would mean that they would have to come back from at least a goal.
They had 2 gears to start games. There were no ho-hum starts.
No.
There were still literally unconscious and murderers.
That's right. That's right. And
It's we're down 2-0 after 6 minutes. We're up 3-0 after 5.
now it's
There's no in between.
notable, too, there were some lineup changes. Nick Robertson came out, even though he's played well and the coaches complimented him. He just hasn't had the results.
It's not a big deal.
And Max Pacioretty, who is in for the second game in a row since his latest scratching, but they have a rotation going, and they tried out some new lines. So Nyes, Matthews, Marner, that stays the same. Second line, Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander. Third line, McMahon, Domi, Holmberg. Fourth line, Lorenz, Kampf, Reeves. And I'll just say it right now. Ryan Reeves had a terrible game last night. He used some bad giveaways, was not effective, wasn't great.
There are too many games, like too many instances where he goes for a hit and it's a cuddle. It's just a cuddle. And I'm kind of like, okay, if you're not doing Ryan Reeves things, then perhaps we should take Ryan Reeves out of the lineup.
Yeah, he made a pass. He was entering the offensive zone for the Leafs, and the pass went right to the Jets. And I kind of cringed, at that moment, because I was like, okay, you're on the ice for such a limited amount of time. Your job is to affect the game in positive ways and not make big mistakes. And I was like, okay, you got this little scoring chance, and you just kind of gave away the puck. And like those things aren't helpful out of your fourth line.
What I would do next game: Robertson third line right wing, Holmberg drops down to fourth line right wing, Reeves sits.
Yep. I understand why they have Reeves in that game because the Jets and Leafs hate each other. There is a rivalry there dating back to 2021 when they played each other all the time.
Tell Logan Stanley watch his ass.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically it.
Exactly. And the game starts, 12 minutes in, John Tavares scores.
Hey.
And nobody on this team needed a goal more.
No. And he has picked up a few points recently, a couple points. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. He's looked terrible.
But last night he looked good. And
where did he go?
I think he has now looking back on that little week where he was taken out because of his sickness, and then it's like 3 games after that he's kind of bad. You lose 8 pounds. I feel like there's an excuse there at this early point in the season. If it's the playoffs, it's a little different because we're talking like, or if there's something bigger on the line, and we're saying like, you're in there, you have to be performing. If you can't perform, why are you in there? But it's mid-October and he's very sick and he's still playing. I feel like there's a built-in excuse. And now that we have 9 points in 9 games, 5 goals, I don't really think there's anything to complain about right now.
To me, it's a different conversation then. And the conversation is, why is a player who is good and important to this team playing games he very doesn't need to, that could keep him out for potentially weeks or months?
I don't think sickness isn't like playing on a hurt ankle.
No,
I don't feel like being sick is going to cause you to miss more time.
No, but dehydration can greatly increase your risk of injury. And if you lost 8 pounds, I assume that's part of it.
Totally. But I feel like you get up to the point during the game where the medical staff gets you
IV drip, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Vitamin B shot in the ass. Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't think it's as physical as you think it is in those moments. He's clearly not up to speed. That's clearly the case, but I feel like there's no long-term risk in playing through the flu.
Yeah,
that is still like a show waiting to happen that I need. It's just an experience I want to experience. I want a professional sports team's medical staff for a week.
Yeah.
Just fix all my shit. Just fix it.
Jesse, do you have Game Center up? You know the goal simulation thing that you're
goals? Yeah.
Oh,
Can we bring up the first goal?
Bless you, Adam.
The
I
reason
almost
wanna
did this in LFR.
I want to bring the goal simulation into this that Jesse has unlocked for us, because this is so key to Tavares' game, but it's also key to somebody else who badly needed some points, who I don't think has played poorly, but needed some results. And that is number 67. That's right. Former Montreal Canadian captain Max Pacioretty, wearing 67 on the Leafs.
I don't know about played poorly, but he's definitely just been a guy.
And
prior to tonight.
Last night, not a guy. Last night, look at where this ends. So obviously we're in the Leaf zone. Tavares is down low in between.
Winnipeg zone.
Sorry, Leafs Winnipeg zone between 4 and 54, and then Connor Hellebuck's in front of him. And then you've got 67. That's Max Pacioretty. And go ahead and press the play on the simulation.
I believe that's Pionk Sandberg out there for the Jets.
So that there's newly signed McCabe over to Tanev down at the blue line. And so here's where we want to stop.
This is basically a 4-on-5, by the way, because of the line.
Nylander's not really involved.
He's not
in
a
any of this
factor.
play. And
no, because Mitch goes off for a line change.
Right.
Yeah, no. Like I'm giving them credit.
That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Because it's not Willie driving everything that's going on with this line, which could be what people talk about today. What I love about this is, look at where 67, you can't even see Tavares, even though he's the goal scorer with 2 lines around him. Look at where Pacioretty is. Look at where Tavares is. If these guys are going to be successful, and I think that they work together. We saw that in preseason before Tavares got sick. If they're going to work together, this is where they need to be.
You know, I see them on paper, and I was like, they're 2 guys. They sort of have similar skill sets. They sort of have similar limitations. Mm-hmm. I don't love the idea of playing together. Last night gave me the bug. I want to see it.
Because they're smart.
I want to see it more. Well, they're smart.
Hockey IQ with those 2 is pretty high.
Nothing wrong with an identity either.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to have players who play similarly. You just got to deploy them properly. And this is a road game, too. Like, Scott Arniel and the Jets could have exposed these guys. And they were the best line on the ice.
They were. And, you know, the game ends with
this goal, underrated part of it, it started with Mitch Marner dumping and chasing the puck. I think that's Craig Berube hockey right there.
He had a good game.
He comes in on the right wing, I believe, and he dumps it down, and they get possession in the zone because of that dump and chase.
I love
that. That's great stuff from the Leafs. You know, it's awesome on the winning that puck battle behind the net, and then that continues, and then we get this cycle where the goal simulation starts and they score a goal.
Jesse, would you not say that Mitch Marner doing that also shows that he has trust in the guys on the ice to forecheck and get the puck.
Yeah. No, it's a compliment to all 5 guys out there. You know, when you dump the puck in and you're against a tough team like Winnipeg and you come away with it and you able to maintain possession and it leads to a goal.
That was the Bruins series, dump and not chase. That's what they kept doing. They dumped it, but it was dump and here you go.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
There's like different strategies we've seen the Leafs employ over the last couple of years and like through the Dubas era, and then now we have this new era, and like their whole thing for a long time was just maintain possession. You know, we're gonna enter the zone, we're gonna enter the puck, we're gonna enter with the puck, we're gonna shimmy back to our own zone just so we can hold on to it, but then never have a good entry. And now it seems like they're willing to throw the puck there and just go chase it and battle and keep it in that way.
They have 2 guys who can be monsters down low, in Tavares and Pacioretty, and their movement from the back end is so much better. OEL Tanev is just an insane.
OEL's meaner than I never thought that he was this mean.
He won a Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers.
So yeah, does that rub off on you? Because was he this mean in Vancouver? Was he this mean in Arizona?
Well, he definitely wasn't this mean in Vancouver. The Coyotes were kind of an underratedly chippy team for a long time. Again, I don't think anyone ever watched them.
Right.
They were an underratedly chippy team for a while. But OEL is such a difficult player to grade because the Coyotes were ages ago.
Yeah.
He hasn't been a Coyote for a long time. The Canucks were obviously not an accurate portrayal of what he is. All I have to go on is his most recent foray, which is with the friggin' we can do whatever we want Florida Panthers.
It's funny, the guys that win the cups, like when Jake Muzzin was on the team and he was the only guy who'd won a cup, who was the toughest guy on the team? It's Jake Muzzin. And it was that chippiness or whatever. He kind of knew it's like, this is what we got to do because this is what works, right?
Oh, God.
I know, it's such a shame. He should
to
still be playing.
I don't remember if it was 2018 or 19. I guess it would have been 19. I don't think he was here in 2018. He beat the shit out of Pasta. I don't know how that guy was able to play beyond that series. He didn't play for long beyond that series. 2019 they went to the final.
OEL is one of the perfect examples of your contract isn't kind of what the player should be.
Yeah.
'Cause when he was an $8.25 million player with Vancouver and they had every expectation on the world on him, he was never going to live up to those expectations. It was the contract said you are supposed to be this, but he just got paid a bunch of money and accepted it. But it wasn't like that was his skill level at the time, and he was never going to live up to it. But now that he's, $5 million? I was just pulling it up there. That's where he should be.
Right. And he didn't sign that deal there. That's the key, right? He signed it in Arizona where he was a standout. He was one of the best offensive defensemen in the league.
3.5. I said 5. 3.5 million.
Can I give you an example of this? Corey Perry was bought out June 19th, 2019. He's still an incredibly useful player.
Yeah.
But because he was bought out, we're like, he's cooked. That's the end of his career.
And Adam, I cut you off there. You're saying he didn't sign that contract in Vancouver.
And Vancouver moved a lot of money off their books because the Coyotes felt like, we don't want this long-term deal. So Vancouver used short-term money to get it off the books and do the flip. And what kills me about the Vancouver thing is look at the roster. This is a Vancouver team when he was playing that they're like, you know what? We need Jay Beagle and we need to pay him $3 million. And $3 million not now, $3 million 5 years ago, when the cap is in the 70s, right? Not in the 90s.
Post-Cup Jay Beagle, though.
Yeah,
and you got to pay the tax.
Who was the other guy that
post-Cup
they hired?
OEL.
Who did they hire from? Who did they sign from Dallas too? There was not for Met. It was
the Canucks.
The Canucks signed a guy also at $3 million who also was not good for them. I remember a bunch of Canucks fans when Jay Beagle scored in the playoffs in 2020. Eat shit out of him. But yeah,
you got to embrace what that happens.
Yeah, 100%.
OEL won a cup with Florida as a $2.2 million defenseman. That dude, he's amazing at that.
What
price.
value?
There was a part of me the day that was signed. I'm like, they're gonna win the cup.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then you put an $8 million label on him, and you're like, fuck that guy. Get him out of BC.
He was 1,000,000% worth it when he signed.
Yeah.
That was something we covered extensively on this show, but it was years and years and years ago, so we probably forgot. But there was a time where Carlson, Doughty, and OEL were all potentially available, which was nuts at the time. And OEL signing for that amount of money was actually, I think, less than a lot of people thought.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He was so good. He used to be so good. He's still pretty good. I thought, since we're on him,
this is the Brandon Sutter, Troy Stetcher, Antoine Roussel, Louis Eriksson.
Oh, Roussel.
Vancouver Canucks. Also JB. So it's a little bit of a different team. Sorry.
Yeah, no, when he signed that contract, like you said, he was very good, but he was a different player.
Yes.
You know, he was more offensive, obviously, and now he's grown into this spectacular other role.
Yeah.
Since we're on OEL, I hated the penalty against him. Don't skate backward into your opponent. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got fined for skating backward into his guy and hitting him, and then he got a penalty because the guy skated backward into him. And I don't know. I think that hit looked a lot worse than it was. As Nemestikov got the worst of it.
I thought the refs had a little bit of quick whistles last night.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of.
I think they wanted to keep a
but-
lock on that game.
Yeah.
I don't like going down that road unless you really earn it. Because I don't know, people are always like, "Ooh, the refs." Riley put it over the glass. He shouldn't have done that. Benoit.
That
Starting to get on my nerves.
yeah, but Ehlers fell like a
No,
house of
you
cards.
got your stick in his skates.
Yeah.
They're gonna call that every time, especially in October.
Yeah, Ben was got a.
And I guess the Willie
right.
one too. Like, there's no excuse for that. He just was wrapped right around.
Yes, Willie.
You lost
come
your man.
on.
Yeah.
You lost your man. Now, before we get to that, Willie does score next.
Yes.
So the Leafs go into the second period up 2-0. And it's notable that Max Pacioretty collects his second assist on this. I want to move past that, though, because I want to talk about the first goal of the second period. Again, my question on the stream was like, hey, they had a great first period.
How do they
2
follow
goals is not enough. How slow are they going to be when they come out? Because that's usually what happens, but it isn't what happened this time. And within a minute, the Marner Matthews Nyes line, which had a great first week, terrible last week, hopefully they have a great this week, gets a goal. And I want to throw up Jesse Blake's screen grab.
Yes.
Jesse Blake screen grab of what happened to goaltending position. And Steve, you explained it so well on the LFR.
I know.
Matthews with a shot, Marner with a shot, Matthews with the shot, Matthew Nyes with a shot.
Well, see, and Nice started it all though,
yes, he did.
because he got those guys the puck, which was
on a forecheck.
on a forecheck, an animalistic forecheck. Brad Treliving needs to be, whoever his agent is, he's got to be calling him off the hook.
I told you Jake Sanderson money. I told you, and you guys laughed at me. That's what he's
Sign
getting.
him before it gets insane. No, forget Jake Sanderson. Alexi Lafreniere just did GMs around the league a huge service.
He did.
I'm not saying they're the same player. And meanwhile, Dylan Genther's like kind of screwing it up for everybody.
Yeah.
Here, it's on the screen now.
Now, Jesse loves this because in the season previews, what did you call Connor Hellebuck?
Is this a picture of a television? Why is it in the corner?
What are you talking? No, I put it there so we can have our picture.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like,
Ooh. No, here, can you make it smaller?
what's wrong?
Here, no, just make it smaller.
What's wrong? I'm showing you that.
Here, a little smaller. No, I'm just being an asshole.
So, Jesse.
I'm just needling you.
No,
Jesse.
what was wrong with
Nothing was wrong with it. Have fun on a Tuesday.
Jesse,
I don't think. Okay.
you tweeted this because Jets fans have been on you.
Yeah,
Connor
so,
Hellebuck's been great.
Myself and the city of Winnipeg and the Winnipeg Jets have a challenge I created at them. I called it the Connor Hellebuck 920 challenge, where I said Connor Hellebuck this season will not have a save percentage over 920 because it's a very hard thing to do, and he's done it the past 2 years. And I'm like, 3 years in a row is impossible. And I think last night we all saw that we now have to start something new.
What's it?
Connor Hellebuck Fraud Watch.
Oh, Connor Hellefraud?
Hella fraud. It might be look. I don't know if this is how you goaltend, but he's a million feet out of the net right now. He's trying to stop a puck, and when they face a good team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and maybe they had
He had just made 2 incredible saves.
Yeah.
maybe they had 8 straight games of teams that weren't very good, and now they come up with a real team, and he gets exposed. Five goals.
I think
Or
what is
5 goals, and then the empty net.
I think what is closer to accurate is
I don't know.
the Leafs did against the Jets what they didn't do against the Rangers, which is they took the good goalie out of it. They made him less of a factor. They made his job harder to do by being animals in front of the net.
Or maybe he was never good to begin with.
And now,
It's probably closer to that.
look at the shot counter. It's a minute into the second period, and the Leafs are about to get their 20th shot. And to compare and contrast, Winnipeg had 6 to that point. People on the stream were going, are they going to pull Hellebuck? And I was like, when they were at 25 shots, I'm like, to be fair, he's let in 4 goals, but like that's normal. 25 shots, 4 goals. That's not like, I mean, it's a little worse than what he's used to.
Can't
But
pull Pionk Sandberg, I guess.
yeah, I think so. So Matthew Nyes scores here.
There's five Jet skaters in this picture.
Yes.
That's how.
and
just,
zero goaltender.
I know. That's how unreal they were last night down low. They made everyone's job so hard. They did this in Winnipeg too.
It's worth mentioning too that Matthew Nyes has 5 goals in 10 games this season. Only an assist.
I shouldn't have
He's
dropped.
selfish. No, I'm kidding.
I picked him up, and then they had a couple bad games. I'm like, nah. I think I might have to grab him again.
Somebody hasn't already grabbed him.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah. So then there's this goal, and then obviously Morgan Riley with his beautiful goal. Nylander and Pacioretty with the assists on that.
Riley off the bar.
That was so. One of the things with Morgan Riley, that shot was really interesting because he doesn't have a shot anyone's afraid of, but it is accurate.
He hasn't had a shot anyone's been afraid of for a few years. So I still look back at the season he had 20 goals and 72 points, and I go, did this fall out of the sky? And it sure didn't feel like it at the time. I mean, we all knew he may never get this again, but he has that ability. He has that capability, and it turns out going from like a below replacement level version of TJ Brody to one of Chris Tanev or OEL is a hell of an upgrade, and it makes your life easier.
What did you guys think about the defenseman switch? Because that was a major story going into the game too. So you have Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who had been paired with Jake McCabe, and Morgan Riley with OEL. And the reason you do that is because OEL and Morgan Riley are the puck movers. McCabe, Tanev are more defensive, musclier defensemen. What do you think about putting the 2 puck movers together and the 2 defensive guys together?
I was okay with it because things were going south in a hurry, and the Leafs hadn't really moved off their pairs at all. Beyond swapping guys out on the third pair, they hadn't screwed with the formula because the formula did not need to be screwed with.
Yeah.
They were doing quite well. And then they lost 3 straight, and it was like, okay, let's maybe fix this. And allowed a lot of goals.
To add to that, and Jesse, I want to get your opinion on it too.
Sure.
Connor Timmins, Nick Richard, who is a writer for the Leafs Nation, said Connor Timmins deserves some credit for taking advantage of a fresh opportunity under a new coach. A lot of us thought he was halfway out the door, myself included.
I thought he was
that.
all the way out the door.
And he is currently leading Leafs D-men in expected goals for percentage and goals against per 60 through 10 games.
That's so crazy.
Now, that's third pair shelter minutes, whatever. It doesn't matter. Those are numbers that you do not expect from Connor Timmins.
No.
And it's not
killing penalties.
Yeah. That's new.
He was like a crazy defensive liability.
Yeah.
Like he was. And we would see him put up points. He was scoring at like something like a third a point or a third of a point per game or half a point a game. And you'd be like, how isn't this guy in the lineup every night when you look at his stat sheet? And holy shit, he was brutal. He was the cause of so many goals. Whatever the Leafs were doing previously was not gelling with him at all.
Yeah.
This is working so much better than I could have ever imagined.
Jesse, you're at a lot of the pregame skates. You're at all the home games. What did you think seeing those top 4 shifted around like that?
I don't think it hurts at all to play to your strengths, and manage your weaknesses, as you always like to say, Adam. I feel like it's another evolution of the team where you can throw OEL and Riley out together. Because Steve, you've been talking about how Tanev's like his best partner forever, but it's an interesting new look. It's like, okay, we know the generic. You throw out the puck mover with the stay-at-home defenseman who's going to block every shot in the world in Chris Tanev. But if you need some sort of mix-up, why not throw out 2 guys who are really good at one thing and have them dominate that part of the game when they're on the ice?
I think they're guys who are specialists who can do everything, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like Morgan Riley's got a little bit of snarl to his game. OEL has a lot more than any of us thought. But those are the puck movers. Tanev is like just a friggin' stay-at-home shutdown master. And McCabe will, I think, eat your heart. But both of those guys can move the puck. That's why the top 4 is in such a good place right now, because even if you have the puck moving pair and the shutdown pair, they can both do both.
Yeah, I don't want to frame it like Riley and OEL or Eric Carlson, where it's like all
Thank
offense
God.
all the time.
I mean,
for that.
yeah.
Thank God.
Jeez,
I'm
Adam
thrilled.
nailed it in a heartbeat.
I'm thrilled about that. Please never be that.
100
I am so disappointed with that guy, by the way. We do need to talk about that.
Throw up 100 points and be minus 30 at season's end. Like,
Right.
It's at the end of the day, the point of hockey is to outscore your opponent. And I think as long as you're doing that, you're winning.
Jesse, when is Yanni Hakanpää able to come back? I'm not injury wise, just like contract.
Game 11.
Game
Game
11.
11.
So he could play Thursday.
Yes.
Okay, because that's the next game.
They
by the way.
can activate him for game 11.
So this is interesting because if Connor Timmins' numbers are that good, right? If Connor Timmins' numbers are that good, the Leafs are playing Seattle. That's a good team.
Sure.
Are you bringing Yanni Hakanpää against Seattle, assuming he's healthy? And do you pair him with a guy like Connor Timmins? Because I look at Yanni Hakanpää and I go, that's a guy they need to be a really good. He's the third big, muscly defensive defenseman on this team in an ideal scenario. Connor Timmins has been really, really good. I think Benoit has been adequate. He hasn't blown me away yet. And I do believe in Simon Benoit's talent. We saw it last year. He was very, very good. What is there a possibility there of a shift? Does that kind of make sense? Or do you get a Marshall Rafai out of the AHL?
Well, that's an interesting idea.
Timothy Liljegren, it's pretty clear, is not in the plans long term, at least right now. So that's why I'm not bringing his name up. And also, we're talking right and left shots. But
Well, because Hakanpää and Connor Timmins are not the same player at all.
no, they're not, and that's why I think the mix up of them is a good thing.
Liljegren and Timmins can do some similar things. Myers, sort of the same. Got the frame of Hakanpää, not quite the defensive ability of Hakanpää. That is the idea of Rafai instead of Benoit is fascinating. At what point does Benoit find himself in the rotation?
I think he's
taken too many calls.
Well, and I agree, and I think that they can't do a rotation right now because they have $3 million sitting in the press box.
Yeah,
and if and when that moves, and it will, unless Timothy Liljegren blows them away the next time he plays, I think that you've got an opportunity here to do that rotation, whatever that next move is. The Leafs can't trade Liljegren right now because nobody makes a good trade earlier in the year. No, you can't make a trade until a team goes through injuries like what Utah is.
The Duchesne trade was pretty good for Colorado.
Okay, but that's like a rare circumstance that built all summer and whatever, right? We're talking about out of training camp, rare that we see a trade. And it's not Matt Duchesne, it's Timothy Liljegren.
Right.
So Timothy Liljegren at $3 million. I'm looking at this and thinking it would be nice to see these guys have to earn jobs too. It's certainly worked, I think, up front a little bit better. I know they had some bad losses in there, but I think that I like the fact that there are people who are like, no, we got to raise our standard. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting on the bench.
It's nice, isn't it? This is something that, we criticize Sheldon Keefe, and he deserved a lot of it, but this is something he just wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that cost Jay Woodcroft his job last year. I don't remember who the reporter was, but they straight up asked, they're like, are you able to do the things that you want to do? Because I don't think the Oilers had any spares. And he wasn't. Craig Berube is able to go, you stink, sit. You stink, sit. You're actually playing pretty good, but you're not good enough to not be in this rotation, so you're sitting. Like a guy like Robertson. That's a guy who he's praised. You haven't really put up any points, and you took an offensive zone penalty that I didn't like the other night. So even though you've been playing really well, sit. There's nothing wrong with raising the standard.
Jess?
So I think it's interesting to note that Hakanpää and Dewar were on this road trip in Boston.
That's notable.
And Winnipeg. They traveled with the team, and they have a decision to make because as of Saturday, they can play both of them, and that'll be 11 or 10 games in 24 days. So we might see somebody significant go away because those two guys can play hockey.
Potentially waivers, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if that's not, they've probably called around about Liljegren.
Surely.
And I think that losing him on waivers would be bad asset management. But I also look at that and I go, is that a guy, if Liljegren is the guy that goes on waivers and goes down or whatever, and assuming he makes, does he go through because he's a $3 million guy that isn't playing regularly?
This, if you ever want to sneak somebody by waivers, this is like, you should have probably done it a little bit ago when everybody's tight. But I think there's an opportunity he could sneak by. But like, if I'm a team, I'd take a chance on Liljegren. I think
I would too.
I think he can be a solid player in the NHL, get in the right place.
There's nothing wrong with. Well, first of all, I'm convinced if he goes to Edmonton, he's winning a cup. There's nothing wrong with having a guy in case if you can afford it.
Yeah.
Like if one of OEL's been playing the right side, or Tanev, or even McCabe, I guess, because he plays the right often. If one of those three guys goes down, being able to throw Liljegren in.
Oh, it's huge.
Injury situation. Yeah, that's a huge
Well,
luxury.
but here's then
Huge
my
luxury.
question is what if you're activating Hakanpää and Dewar potentially on Saturday?
Yep.
And you don't have to. You don't have to.
Well, that might be the solution.
Well, if you can only lie for so long. If that helps.
yeah. So
I've watched them practice for a month, and Hakanpää looks decent.
So they got Dewar listed as a centerman, but his face-off wins are concerning because he's never won more than about 45% of them. And you need a fourth-line center to do that. The guy that I would see him pushing out is David Kampf because he'd be a cheaper, younger David Kampf. So, but can you trust him to win the face-offs you need him to win?
I actually think Dewar being activated is the more interesting conversation because with the defense, we already got guys who are on the what do you point at?
Oh, I was trying to do that off camera, Jesse. I was going to be like, Hayden, do you have anything to offer on Connor Dewar?
Oh, because he's a wild player.
Yeah. 'Cause we didn't get to see a ton of them.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was trying to subtly be like, do you?
It wasn't subtle.
It was subtle because it wasn't on camera.
Throwing to, I don't know. You were throwing to somebody.
No, I wasn't bloody throwing.
All right. So let's continue that conversation. Then we'll get to Hayden on the Dewar thing. Jesse, if you activate Connor Dewar and he can't play center, then or you can't win faceoffs at center. I know he can play, and I know he can play well defensively, and we saw him kill penalties, and he got injured towards the playoffs. So I don't even know if that was a really accurate portrayal of who Connor Dewar can be. They clearly like him. What do you do in that situation? Because the Liljegren thing, I think Liljegren's a lot more valuable to the depth of this team than David Kampf is. The only thing David Kampf has is he is strong defensively and he can win some faceoffs. But he's not tremendously outstanding at anything else.
No, he's not.
Can they?
Yeah, and let's not also forget that Calle Jarnkrok exists. Like, there's another body that can hopefully fill in somewhere if you end up losing David Kampf.
There's such a bizarre amount of guys ready to come back.
Yeah.
David Kampf,
A
by
lot
the
of
way,
money. A lot of money.
in 9 games this season, and again, he's only got a point, and he's a -4, and he's playing 11 minutes a night, but he is winning 57% of his faceoffs, and coaches, they do at least want to rely on you for a defensive zone draw. They do. Is Jarnkrok a good enough center to be playing it all the time?
And their penalty kill, before last night was really good.
Yeah.
It was top 10. I think it was 9th. They surrendered 2 to the Jets, who have the #1 power play in the league. That means you're in a decent spot with your penalty kill. So how bad do you need to be making these adjustments?
Kyle Connor scores 2 power play goals, as Steve mentions, right after the Morgan Riley.
Touch of
And
death.
this is where the Leafs run into trouble. It ran into trouble in Montreal with this. I think New York with this. 3 penalties in a row, 2 extremely avoidable. One of them, the Morgan Riley one, it's going to happen, but it sucks.
Yeah.
So I think one of them was the Nylander where he's hugging the guy.
That's a bad one.
The other one is, and I'm trying to figure out the other penalty that I can't remember. OEL penalty.
And
Benoit?
Morgan over
Morgan over the
Morgan
glass.
Over the glass, yeah.
Here's what killed the Leafs' momentum last night. Penalties.
Yes.
Killed it. They were destroying worlds, and then they got 3 penalties in succession in the second period.
It's the best power play in the league.
And that power play got them right back in. Kyle Connor's goals were really, really good.
They scored the first one, and they had an air about them. They're like, oh, shit, there's a lot of time left. And the second
And
one
by the way, it was
goes in, I'm
4-1. It's worth mentioning it was 4-1.
It was 4-0 is more dangerous in that building.
Oh, really?
Third game in the Matthews era. I'll never forget it. They were up 4-0, and Patrick Laine gets a hat trick in overtime to win 5-4.
Wow. Oh, yeah, it was Laine versus Matthews. That was a big
If you
thing.
were a Leafs fan living in Winnipeg, I have no doubt that was the worst day of your life. I have no doubt that at the height of Matthews versus Laine mania, blowing a 4-0 lead and Laine getting his first career hat trick, I have no doubt that was the worst day of your entire life.
And the one we forgot is Holmberg cross-checking against Morrissey.
That's it.
Oh,
Yes.
Because the Willie penalty never got to a penalty because they scored on the
Right.
penalty.
Scored.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I
there's-
forgot to mention that in the elephant.
There's actually
Damn.
5 infractions, and then only 4 got to the
So
penalty.
it was 3 of the Jets' 4 goals then were man advantage.
Yes.
Because power play, extra attacker.
Yeah.
Shit. I
So
forgot
who
to
was-
mention that in the
So then who was the first penalty? It wasn't Willie. It
Holmberg.
was Holmberg.
Cross-checking against
And I
Morrissey.
remember thinking that, and I felt like that Holmberg penalty was completely avoidable because, again, you could push off with your stick. You just can't hit him out here, right? And I think he was trying to push off with his stick, and I feel like that's a guy that's a little under fire right now.
He's playing desperate and unconfident hockey. You just see it in his body language. He's playing. He's very compact and tight. Horrible body language, and obviously taking penalties. And like you're in the lineup in no small part because of your penalty killing abilities. Like, dude, he's out there for that 5-on-3 a few games ago. I can't remember who it was against. And Kampf was a healthy scratch the next game. They didn't use Kampf, they used you, and then he's a healthy scratch. And you responded with probably your worst game of the season. And I mean, I'm putting Robertson right back in the lineup. Like whether it's Holmberg or Reeves coming out, to me is immaterial. If it's a conversation of the 3 of those guys, Robertson is by far the most useful. And he was sitting last night. So that's the one thing I'd change for Thursday.
Holmberg makes so little too that like he's not somebody you can move off the roster because it won't move the salary.
You're not
cap
going
at
to
all.
save.
I really hope they don't waive him. I think he's useful enough that like someone will get him and that'll be a guy you miss. Kind of like Lagesson last year. They lost Lagesson and it's like, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have
And
been a
for-
nice luxury.
For $800,000, Holmberg becomes useful when he's playing well.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. Now, to end that period, and this was key, you don't want to go into that period after allowing 2 power play goals and then killing the 3rd penalty, right? Which they did. You don't want to do that and then and go into that and be in that building and let the fans work themselves into a frenzy. It's a loud building.
Yep.
You got to score before the end of the period, and John Tavares does. And it's a Nylander, Ekman-Larsson assist count, but Tavares gets another goal, and that's a major one.
Jets absolutely win that game if that goal doesn't go
I
in.
think so too.
I'm not even just talking about, 5 is bigger than 4, Steve, idiot. I'm talking about the Leafs would never have gotten a 5th one if that one doesn't go in.
I agree. And then
and again, go to the fucking net. Yeah. Go to the net.
So Mark Scheifele scored about 7.5 minutes into the 3rd period. Now this is on the man advantage, but Nylander had taken a penalty, but it never became one because it was a
It's
delayed.
essentially a power play.
Gabe Vilardi then makes it 5-4 with 4 minutes left to go.
People were pissed about this.
Should have been Kyle Connor, I think.
Well, they thought it was Kyle Connor. They threw hats in the ice. One guy reached out to me. He's like, "What the hell? I bet on the Kyle Connor hat trick, and it was then taken away from me." I just took it at face value. I'm like, "Well, it was Kyle Connor." I had no idea.
I thought it was.
I didn't know it went in off someone else, but they gave it to Vilardi.
Now, Vilardi is interesting because he also scored with the man advantage. They pulled the goalie with 4 minutes to go. That was a 6-on-5.
Oh, so all 4 goals
were man advantage goals.
Oh, that's crazy.
And,
Damn.
And
I need you guys in the room when I'm making LFR.
but I thought that was interesting because first off, it was smart. And when they did score, they didn't just pull the goalie again. They left the goalie in for a bit.
Well, and Berube and the team's forecheck kept Hellebuck in the net.
Yeah, I think they left the goalie in for a bit, not by any like plan.
Want to do it?
I think they had to, because remember they had the face-off in the neutral zone, I think, and then the Jets ended up icing it.
Right.
And then it goes back down to the other end, and then there's another face-off, and then they finally get out and they pull them. So yeah, it was good defense by the Leafs at the end of the game there.
It was. And John Tavares completes the hat trick with a backhand from center
real
ice.
nice.
I was
under
like
coverage.
I was like, no, oh, it's going in. It's John.
Man, he needed a goal. He needed a hat trick. You got to feel like that felt real good.
Oh, like we were having the John Tavares conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a bunch of comments. I'm glad we're finally having the John Tavares conversation. All right, let's have a conversation. Last year, he didn't hit 30 goals. His save percentage was through the Earth's crust.
Wait, what? Shooting percentage.
Shooting percentage.
Yeah.
And what I said heading into the season was he will score 30. Guarantee you he will score 30.
Yep.
Over the past few games, I'm like, whoa, like maybe, like you can't count on shooting percentage regression if you don't earn it at least a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to fluke into shooting 10% this year. You can't rely on that. Last night was to a T, him doing all the things that he needs to do to be the best version of John Tavares.
Maybe having better line mates is good for him.
Man, I would have never put him with those two. Putting Tavares with Nylander is something I think throughout the regular season, there's 82 games. It's so many games. You try. It's not something that I thought was the best version of the second line. And Pacioretty, no, I wouldn't have put him up there. Has he played top 6 in a game that counted this year?
No, I think that's the first time this season it started at least in the top 6, yeah.
And there was a game where, I can't remember, they lost, but he had the second best expected goals, but it was still like 0.3 or something terrible like that. He played under 10 minutes in that game. Seeing him slotted into the top 6, I'm like, where is this coming from? And then he has his first, second, and third assist of the season. So it's a line I wouldn't have gone to. It's a line I would happily go to again.
Yeah, and I think, what was it? Because we talked about it on Friday, the Lorentz, Tavares, and who was the other person on his wing?
Reeves. Oh, wait.
No.
On Robertson?
It was
Robertson most of the season.
Robertson, Tavares, Lorentz line on the Thursday game. It was there, and I believe that line scored a goal, but it's like those aren't the wingers for JT at this point. He needs a little bit more assistance there and just somebody who's going to play with him. And I think Willie was a great match, and Patches just came to play. It was great stuff.
McMahon was probably going a little too much. Mm-hmm. So on the third line, that might be a better role for him. I like him with Domi. Putting Robertson on that line, I think, makes it a lot of fun. I want to see them try it.
So what would that be?
It'd be all you do is swap out Holmberg. It's McMahon, Domi, Robertson.
I like that.
Yeah, so you have Domi in between two dudes who can just friggin' rip it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And there's enough size on that line too. Like McMahon brings a little bit of size, right? Because Domi's tough, but he's not huge.
And a defensive babysitter.
What's up, Hayden?
I was just gonna say I do the stat sheets for the streams, and I was looking at the worst forward line, other than like a fourth line, has been Robertson, Tavares, and Holmberg.
Yeah.
With like an expected goals per 60, like 0.84.
Oh God.
That adds.
Last night, Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander together, expected goals for per 60, 6.95.
Damn.
That's
oh my gosh.
Huge. Yeah, Holmberg.
Steve joke.
Yeah. Holy. Got so excited. That's pretty good. Good job.
In just a few days at Burlington City Hall, Halton Women's Place and over 350 community members will walk for Hope in Every Step, standing in solidarity with women and children overcoming abuse. This walk is more than just an event. It's a powerful movement of hope, resilience, and support. As they approach the final step, they just need your help with their Just Giving fundraising goal of $25,000. If you want the link for it, by the way, it's in the description, so you can give. And obviously, they would love it if you walk. Since 2018, the number of women killed each year in Ontario has gone up by 68%. Your support is more than just a donation. It's a lifeline. We hope that you'll be able to join in making that pledge today, even if you can't be there like we can't. But right. Yeah, listen, not everybody
it's
can
too
be
far for Steve.
Yeah, it's
We've
past
been over this time and time again. He doesn't like sitting in his car for very long. And anything in the West End is too far.
Have you ever done any book signings past youngsters?
Yes, I have. My contribution is I'm not going to sneeze during this ad read.
Like last time, yeah.
Now, HaltonsWomenPlace.com is where you got to go if you want to be a part of it. But like we said, obviously, we have the link in all of our descriptions, be it audio or video. The only women's domestic violence shelter in Halton region is this one, and it's hope in every step. Check it out. It is notable, by the way, that
Choked on a stat.
the Leafs did not get any power play goals last night. They had two power plays. The first one looked good. The second one, I don't think did. They did scramble their lines. That continues to be an issue.
The bad was pretty obvious.
The 5-on-5 play is great. You do need to capitalize on a man advantage, though.
I know.
It's a serious problem because not being good on special teams can sink a team.
Yes.
We saw the Penguins, who we like going back to about the parts of the team that suck, and one of them was the power play all last season. And if you can't get that going, it could become a real issue.
You know what I almost just said? It's a habit. It's a habit you get into. So they finally switched up the power play groups, and they didn't score. And I was about to say, but they just got here. Hey, they just got here.
Now,
Give them a couple games.
A guy who did not just get here and is staying here is Jake McCabe. 5 years, 4.7 in actual money, but 4.51 because 200,000 or roughly 200,000 will be deferred each year over this 5-year contract that Jake McCabe stays with the Leafs, which prompted our good friend Jonas Siegel to write, "Have the Leafs committed too many years to too many old defensemen?" Which
Is it good?
I'm sure it was really well received.
it was not well received, but you know what?
Oh, baby.
Jonas is like, you know what? Screw it. This is how I feel. I like this because it really doesn't matter what 5 years is. 5 years is 5 years from now, and this deal doesn't even start till next year.
Yep.
It starts. That's 6 years from now. I don't care. Right now, you got to win.
Yep.
Right now is the window. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, they're creeping up to their late 20s, early 30s.
Yep.
You got to win now.
Yep.
You got to do it. So, what do we think, guys, of the Jake McCabe extension? I know you did a quick video on it, Steve, but I think it's important that we kind of unpack it a little bit here. This guy, since coming to Toronto, has been a factor. It's probably one of the best trades Dubas ever made because of the retained money and the fact that he was able to get a first-round pick back for Rasmus Sandin later on. What do we think about Jake McCabe long-term in Toronto?
First of all, just Dubas did leave a few pretty good parting gifts. Like
I've always said this. His best thing was trades. He's really good at trades.
Except for Kadri. But
that was bad.
The McCabe deal ruled. Drafting nice. Like, thank you. God bless you, Kyle. Thank you for that. It's not a bad cap hit at all. It's really good. I need CJ to come on here and explain deferred money to me like I'm 5.
Yeah, because apparently it doesn't count against them.
I don't understand. I just straight up don't understand.
So there's like a percentage you can go to.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I got to call him.
It's $190,000 a year they're saving basically, and apparently it just never counts.
Should have done that with every deal. Why didn't you do that?
Yeah, I completely don't understand it. No, this is a very useful player. And he's like also barely getting a raise. People forget, at least against the cap. He is a $4 million defenseman. The Leafs are paying him too. Because the Blackhawks retained half for several years. Crazy. The fact that he's been playing this well and he's barely getting a raise, yeah, that's pretty good.
Jesse, thoughts?
I'm just reading some of Siegel's thoughts here on McCabe. He was talking about how, like, you got to lock him up because these defensemen become he might leave for more money, and he's like, he doesn't find that to be an argument for keeping him, and he's writing that defensemen, just like McCabe, tend to become available annually at the trade deadline, like McCabe did for that matter in 2023. Acquiring said defenders does mean parting with quality assets, so that's a strike in the favor of a deal like this. So is the price point of free agent defenders in McCabe's ballpark? Montour and Brady Shea each got pricey 7-year deals this past summer. Brett Pesce and Matt Roy got 6 years apiece at annual numbers higher than what McCabe got from the Leafs. Still, could this deal not have waited until the postseason? Until after, that is, the Leafs see whether this team can make a run after years of playoff failure until after they see whether this top 4 on defense is good enough.
I have to say I disagree with that.
He's talking about the group, which is fine.
Yeah.
There's enough sample size of Jake McCabe that he belongs in the top 4 of this team. On the left or right. He can move the puck decently enough. He'll kill guys. He'll do whatever for his team. I get the impression he's really liked.
Ryan Reeves said he might be my favorite defenseman in the league. He does a little bit of everything. He's got great poise with the puck, breaks out well, plays physical, blocks shots, and even adds a little offense too.
There you go.
Yeah, so I understand Jonas looking at the whole picture. That does make sense. But to me, it makes more sense to commit money to McCabe than it does to commit to 2 guys who had not played on your team in Tanev or OEL. Like, I'm not saying he's better than those 2. I definitely...
But you know what you have with him, and he signed... Here's the thing,
If
guys.
you're talking about how someone fits into this team, you default to the guy who's played over 100 games with this team.
Jake McCabe fits in with this team. That's right, because you always take a risk. You never know if a defenseman wants to stay or you're going to fit or whatever. Here's the other thing. He signed for less money to stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
He's
an over $5 million defenseman every day of the week in free agency.
In yes.
All day.
Yes. Maybe 6.
As a UFA. If it's a bidding war, yes.
As a UFA, depending on the class of the...
and it's thin.
Yeah,
it's getting thinner. I think Ekblad, if he re-signs in Florida, it's going to be real thin.
No, 100%. 100%.
I'm going to bring this up to Jonas Eagle. I think I'll probably see him maybe at morning skate on Thursday.
Call him a
We have show
loser.
tomorrow, so I can't go to practice. But Thursday morning skate for that Seattle game, I'm going to tell him we brought this up on the show, and Adam and Steve shut down his whole argument.
Yeah, we're like, hey, Jonas, you've been nothing but great to us. How about we... No, listen, I think it's okay to have differing opinions on this.
Oh, yeah, I'm kidding.
And this is a Brad Treliving special, by the way, long-term older defense.
Man, he loves an old dude.
One thing I think is handy is this chart he had on the article in The Athletic. Go subscribe to The Athletic. They always make great content. And it's an outline of, for everybody listening, it's an outline just in chart form of the defensemen that are signed throughout their contract. So we got Tanev, OEL, McCabe, Riley. They're all signed through 2025 through 2027 and then through 2028, from 2030, we have Tanev, McCabe, and Riley all still signed.
No.
So
And he did make a good point about TJ Brody. He's like, the fall off was huge there, and TJ Brody was 34.
yeah, in 2030, when you'll have Tanev, McCabe, and Riley still under contract, Riley will be 35, McCabe will be 36, and Tanev will be 40 at the end of their deals. And then 2028, when all 4 guys are still signed, Riley's 33, McCabe's 34, OEL's 36, and Tanev is 38. So you're going to have a very old top 4 going forward for many, many years.
Here's what
I have 2 counter arguments. One is Riley is 24. Get it right. He is 24. He has always been 24. He will always be 24.
It feels like that.
He has a baby
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to say something.
Sure.
This is that graph that you brought up from The Athletic is true. But if we're talking about the Jake McCabe context in the outside of the vacuum of just the Jake McCabe contract, in the context of the top 4 defensemen who are now set in stone, that's pretty much who they're going to be. I don't really mind a 4% cap hit. Like, assuming there's no work stoppage, by the time we reach 2028, we're looking at a $110 million cap the way things are going. The league revenues are not just going like this. They're going like this. They're going up fast.
Adam's hand changed angles.
It's calculus, baby. So it's a multiple of itself. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, so once we reach 100 million, that cap is 4.5% of the cap. You know what's 4.5% of the cap right now?
What?
Timothy Liljegren.
Actually?
Just about. And so you look at, it's about 3.5.
I don't like that.
So you look at Jake McCabe's deal as it gets to year 4. We're thinking by 2030 it's going to be at least $110 million, assuming no COVID or work stoppage. All right, 2 big assumptions. If you're planning for that to be the case, which is the most likely scenario, I'm not worried about Oliver Ekman-Larsson making that because that's what third pairing defensemen will make at that point. I'm not worried about Jake McCabe making that because that's what third pairing defensemen will make at that point. Chris Tanev, I think, is going to retire before this deal ends anyway.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Like,
here.
are you're
the
telling
guy
me
blocks too many shots to be playing when he's 39.
LTIR doesn't exist? Come on, right?
Well, way more likely LTIR than retirement because
Same
it's a
thing.
35 plus contract.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys are forgetting the number one criticism for Jonas.
Jonas.
Sorry.
His name is Jonas, like the song.
It's very confusing. Jonas Eagle and Jonas Siegel. Don't kill my vibe. I didn't say you were wrong.
No.
I just don't want to hear that.
Listen, sometimes we don't want the voice of reason, but that's Jonas. So, and I love that. I'm not trying to bash him at all.
No.
I think it's more just like I disagree. I think this is okay. We're not talking about massive, crazy amounts of money, and it's not. Morgan Riley makes what he makes right now because of what he did when he signed the contract, which was 70 points. Mm-hmm. Right. And he deserves it, and he's looking better. He was a monster in the playoffs against Tampa when they actually won the series. I'm okay with this.
It's just me at the bar in my early 20s. Like,
Yeah.
I know this is a bad idea.
And isn't it cool that we have?
I didn't need you to tell me that. I'm having a good time.
We have a top four that isn't. Oh man, if all things go right, barely above a replacement level player can play next to Jake Muzzin. Like that's what we were at.
And it just doesn't feel yet. We may change our mind as the season goes, but it doesn't feel like you're asking any of them to overperform.
No. You spread the work around.
Yeah.
Now, worth mentioning today, Jesse. Did you?
No, the four guys, they eat up about $20 million on the cap. He writes, and I'm like, that's also kind of reasonable.
It's pretty reasonable.
What is that? A quarter? Less than a quarter.
If the cap is 100 mil, like you're saying, it will be $20 million for your top four defensemen. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, it's 92 and a half already. It goes up another 4. We're a year and a half away from basically it being 100 million. So I'm okay with it.
Don't kill me.
Not bad.
Fraser Minton was activated today, sent to the AHL. Worth noting that the Marlies are second in the AHL, but only because they played one less game than the Wranglers and the Hershey Bears. The Marlies have 13 points in 7 games, so it's a pretty good competitive environment to step into. Alex Nylander is on an absolute tear. If the Leafs do need some depth scoring at some point, that might be a guy.
You got to sign him to a contract, though.
You do.
And they're cutting contract.
You do, yeah.
So would he need entry waivers? Like if they sign him to an AHL deal?
That's a very good question.
I don't believe so.
No.
Well, you got to check on that. That's a good question.
Because KHL, I believe you would need to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure about AHL.
Yeah.
No,
I'm trying to think of the last time they signed an AHL mid-season.
the entry waivers are always they're gonna have a sore spot in your body for
Harry Sateri.
Harry Sateri.
I will never, ever get over it.
That will always make me laugh because you are the only person I think in the universe besides like him and his family fighting for this young man and the rest of his NHL career.
He wasn't a young man.
Yeah.
No, they torpedoed any chance he ever had of becoming an NHL goalie for a meme.
For just to be like, ha, Dubis.
Kiss my ass.
Yeah. So I know in those situations, yes, you'll need re-entry waivers, but I don't think the AHL to NHL one should require it. But
I hope not.
Let's check on that because we could lose Nylander that way.
We could.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's check.
I don't think it's going to.
William too.
Logan.
It's a clause.
Shut up.
That's how you could.
Nylander, 5 goals, 2 assists in 7 games. Not bad.
Hooray.
Not bad at all. Moving on to other things that happened in the NHL last night. Steven Stamkos made his return to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Hooray.
Hooray. And had a nice little video tribute. And he went and waved to the crowd. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was somebody in the crowd who was a Lightning fan who wrote "My GM sucks" on their t-shirt. So some Lightning fan not happy with it.
Producer Nick lost his mind.
What? Oh, because the Lightning have won championships?
2 cups, you spoiled piece of...
It was a great tribute. Steven Stamkos got his first assist of the season.
Very good.
Because he's had goals. But I thought it was interesting that the game went to overtime. Nick Paul, who we hate, but we also love. We would love him if he was a Leaf.
Sure.
Scores the goal, but who set him up?
Who did set him up, Adam?
Stamkos' replacement, Jake Ensel.
That's tough.
So today, Julien Brisebois is feeling himself just a little bit.
And today, I'm calling it right now, that's the Nashville Predators U2 moment.
You think so?
100%. 100%. They're about to go on a tear. Watch.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That
they
loss is not going to sit well.
3-5-1. It's not been a good start. It's been okay.
They've recovered after a really bad start. They're going to go on a tear. Watch.
I'm ready for that because I had them predicted to be one of the top teams in the division, and they can't let me down like this.
Everyone's mid. There's like, what, 3-4 really good teams? A few teams just dying.
Yeah.
Everyone's just mid.
Yep.
Gary Bettman's just loving it.
Jesse,
Yes.
if you were Julian Breezewa today, would this be the I'm right and I'm going to feel good about it all day today?
The game last
Yes.
night? No. Julian Breezewa, for like the reason he is the way he is because he's like ruthless and always thinking about the future. You know, I assume that game last night was like, it's sad because Stamkos is back and everything, but he's like, I want a cup this year. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm not even thinking about today. It's like, how does today impact our Stanley Cup aspirations? And that's how you want every GM to be.
I think it's been almost half a decade since Julian Breezewa cared about a regular season game.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at.
You're
Like,
telling me that didn't mean anything to him? Because I can't imagine a
maybe.
competitive person being like,
Sure.
oh, who cares? I think he absolutely cares.
his bar is the Stanley Cup. Like,
Yeah.
his bar isn't beating Stamkos on a Monday in October. It's, I'm going to raise the cup with Jake Gensel, and Stamkos has to watch it as, like, the Predators lose, you know?
The fan who had that T-shirt, you know what they did when the Lightning won that game in overtime? They cheered.
Yep.
He's doing his job.
Do I suck, ma'am, in the front row? You know, like, that's what he's thinking about.
I think they cheered.
I think it feels good. I think it feels a little
It
good.
probably
Now,
feels pretty
I have an answer for Alex Nylander re-entry waivers from Chris Johnston.
oh,
Official answer is no. They just need to sign him, but they need the room to sign him in the cap space, which they don't have. But no re-entry waivers for Alex Nylander.
I mean, I kind of wonder if there's like a handshake in there because let's say they had signed him. He would have simply been waived, and there's a really good chance he simply would not be here anymore. They still have a bunch of stuff to figure out, and I think they'll figure it out, and then they'll be like, oh, there you go.
I also don't think they had the cap space to sign him because Patches was the final dollar, right? So even if they wanted to, it would have been a case of we can't even fit you here.
This one of the huge problems of the Dubas era is they would maximize every little dollar for the beginning of the season, which is great. But then you got to get through the season.
yeah.
And the Leafs,
You have to emergency call up a goalie so you can sign Matthew Nice.
Oh.
the Leafs have at very least kicked this can down the road. And at the end of the road, you get back 3 certifiable NHL players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. It's going to cost you potentially 2 certifiable NHL players, but you probably prefer these 3.
But for the idea of for November, you're adding Dewar, Yarncroke, and Hakanpää. That's pretty good, And then
you could do worse.
And then Minton going down, you'll always have Minton to call up if you need a center.
Yeah.
To fill on the bottom part of the lineup.
This is his first pro year, so you got him for 3 years to do that.
No, he's going back to junior. You watch. Sorry, I don't know. Everyone was like, Steve. And I'm like, yeah, I throw myself in the mercy of the court. I thought he was junior eligible.
That's okay.
I want to throw this at you. So we've seen teams fall apart.
Okay.
4-1, the least safe lead in hockey. Going into the third period with a 4-1 lead, Steve, Jesse, how does it make you feel? 4-1 lead, team you should beat, going into the third period.
It creates a fight or flight response in me that makes me want to vomit whatever I've eaten that evening.
We've had some bad experiences, Jesse.
Generally, it makes me feel pretty good.
Jesse, you don't get. I don't think you feel as sick as Steve and I do because you're not as reactive as we are. Is that fair? That means you're more.
Are we talking Bruins Leafs?
I'm talking actually
Game 7, or are we talking
Utah-
October hockey?
winless San Jose Sharks.
I think that's just hilarious for the Sharks to do it that way.
So with 5 minutes to go, Utah, which has been struggling and their D line has been decimated, and I wonder if Timothy Liljegren ends up on it one day.
Yeah.
Decimated blue line. Sharks have outshot them, but there's a little bit of score effects going on here. And 5 minutes to go, Fabian Zetterlund scores.
Oh, well, good moral victory there.
15-28 to be exact.
Oh.
Then, with another offensive zone face-off, almost the exact play to a T happens again 20 seconds later.
20 seconds? That's so few seconds.
That's so few seconds. All of a sudden, it's 4-3 Utah, but it's still 4-3 Utah.
They're fine.
And then, less than a minute and a half later, we're talking less than 90 seconds.
What?
Tyler Toffoli is at the side of the net.
No.
Ties the game.
No, like his name.
Tied Foley.
Oh, my gosh.
And then, the guy that the New York Rangers traded for last year at the trade deadline, I think. Wasn't it? Didn't they trade for him?
Who is the player?
And Wenberg.
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Good one.
Before you get to the OT one,
Oh, okay.
the Tyler Toffoli one is a good goal simulation if we want to bring
Let's
that
see
up
it.
here.
Let's see it.
Because it happened off of a face-off draw, and you don't always get goals off the face-off draw. So
He
it's
does.
fun to see the goal simulation off of a face-off draw. So we get the Sharks there winning it back. You see the little battle with the puck here. This is when the ref is... So for everybody listening, everybody's at the faceoff dot. All the little circles are lined up like they're taking a draw. And then the puck isn't dropped yet, so you see all of the little moving numbers just kind of hover at the faceoff circle as the ref isn't dropping the puck.
Right.
And then it goes back, and there's a pass to the blue line, a pass to the middle, and then the goal, and then we see everybody come in the corner and celebrate.
I love this celebration at the end. I love that they let it
This is
run.
one of the best goal simulations I've seen recently.
Jesse,
Yeah.
if you bring up either the other two goal simulations,
Sure.
they're almost the exact play, except for 96 to 64 would have been a cross ice pass and a goal.
That's
the
all right.
Zetterlund and the Granlund goals are
Wallman
the
to
exact
Granlund, I think.
same. They're exact same.
All right. So
It's crazy. They pulled this play off like 3 times.
You know how I know those two teams are struggling? Look at the friggin' numbers on the ice.
Oh, it's a lot of weird high numbers.
Man, there's not a 10 or an 18
No.
in sight.
Adam couldn't be more right about this. This is the previous goal ahead of the one we just watched. It's literally identical.
I think it's all the same players.
It is.
It's the same line out there, except with a new goal scorer. It's not Toffoli
Look,
this
boom,
time.
over to the defenseman,
It's-
back of the net.
It's a play off of the face-off, and this time the defenseman shoots it, and everybody comes over here to celebrate.
And then
Who's
go to
in
the
net?
other one. Go to the other one.
Is that Ingram? 39? Or no, that's Vimelka.
Yeah, it's Vimelka and that. And then bring that off, and then we'll go to the Fabian Zetterlund one,
Yeah,
the earlier
go to the
one.
Fabian Zetterlund
Yeah,
one.
the one off of the draw here.
We need to stop talking about the NHL site being bad.
No, this is
No, they've been doing
No,
good stuff.
I use it a lot and I really like it.
Yeah, no, me too.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is the
Same
one
guys.
before that. We have a new goal scorer. It's fun how they have different goal scorers in each one. and
96, 64, shot at the net, tip, in.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful stuff.
That
yeah, goal Sally. Whee!
So the only difference with the third goal, the Toffoli goal,
That's easily the best part. That
That's
they
the
let
best
it
part of the whole
go.
thing.
That's easily the best part.
only difference though with the Toffoli.
I want to fight after a goal.
Oh.
So you see them just these little video game circle.
They I saw the goal simulation. Somebody posted on Twitter for when Malkin had his 1,000th point. He just or 1,500th point
Or 500th goal.
500th goal. I forget.
Was it against the Leafs?
The one he just had the other day, and everybody came off of the ice to celebrate. You see on the goal simulation the bench clear, and all of the
no
little
way.
circles come off,
that's
and they
cool.
all go on.
You
the
know
ice
what?
to celebrate
Anytime
with
something
them.
big happens and it's a bench clearer, we got to do
Yeah, we gotta watch the goal
We
simulation.
got to watch the goal simulation. So
I gotta find it. It's
if
so
you go
good.
and you watch those goal simulations, the only thing San Jose changed from the first goal to the third, first and second is the exact same play. Third goal is they didn't pass it across the blue line to the other defenseman. That's the only thing that changes. And it takes Wenberg winning those faceoffs for that to happen. But man, what a comeback. And of course, he scores in overtime his first goal of the year
Looks like truth is back on the menu, boys.
right now.
Let's go.
The last thing I want to say, because we'll do a press conference tomorrow because we're doing another show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is the PWHL has announced its plans to add 2 more expansion teams for the 25-26 season. PWHL Senior VP of Business Operations Amy Shear announced. Haley Salvian had this story. ESPNW had this story. We obviously don't know what the teams are, but when the 6 teams were announced, there were a lot of cities who were like, hey, WTF.
But we want one.
And it looks like 2 more will. Now, I'm thinking, you have a bunch of people just throwing out city names. The reality of the situation is it's expensive to travel a hockey team, especially in a new league when revenues are not eclipsing expenses. This league did not make money last year. So you've got to have something that's somewhat close.
Do we know if it's a Canadian and American?
We do not.
Okay.
I would put money on it's Pittsburgh. They've been asking for the team, and they did a whole feature in The Athletic when the season launched. How disappointed they were that they couldn't get a team.
Yep.
Because you can't. It's not like a regular like all the other leagues where you just buy a team. Like the league owns all the teams, and the owners of the Penguins have been doing a lot for women's hockey over the last couple of years, and they were very disappointed that they weren't amongst the team. So like I guarantee, like I think that's going to be one of the cities.
The reality of it is Canada's big and sparsely populated outside of Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
The idea that it's going to be equal Canadian and American teams going forward is just not going to happen. I agree with you on Pittsburgh. I also think it's going to be Detroit.
That'd be good.
Because it
yeah.
makes too much sense. You've got Ottawa, Montreal, and Toronto within a 5-6 hour drive, right? Well, okay, longer than that. But if you take trains, if you take planes, it's real short. And you got to kind of build out from the Northeast as the revenues go
And
up.
you got to inch out west. And
Yes.
Detroit sort of helps you do that.
Minnesota's your closest thing to inching out west, right?
Yeah, because the market that's really being left hung out to dry here that people often forget about is Calgary. They had the Inferno, and it's crazy they had the Inferno because they're given where all the other teams were off in friggin' Narnia. They'll make their way out there eventually, but not yet.
Yeah. Also, Buffalo, if we're going back to that time, Buffalo had the Buffalo Buttes. Like, they're also being left out here. But I think it would make the most sense right now to go Detroit, Pittsburgh.
I think it comes down to this. Pittsburgh is one of the best local hockey markets in the United States, as in like local viewership, local like participation in the game. Pittsburgh is a sports mad town anyway. And Detroit, it's just obvious why Detroit. It's a bigger city. It's one of the top 10 markets in the. I believe it's still. Well, maybe it's top 12. And there's money there, and there's growth there, and there's places to play there. I think it makes a ton of sense that it's Detroit, but Buffalo makes sense too. I just don't know that the same financial top end is available in Buffalo than versus a Detroit.
And it makes more sense to be on that side, of the
rather than having to go around the lake.
Country than to be over on the Buffalo side, just for the logistics of all where the teams are.
Buffalo's interesting because I wondered about Hamilton.
I don't think they're doing another. I mean, if they do, they are renovating Cops Coliseum. Oakview Group is in there right now,
But not yet.
And there's a whole bunch of red tape. Somebody was explaining it to me actually at the game. The in-game host, he's a great guy and he does a great job for the Jennies. He was saying like, listen, I'm from Hamilton and it's a pain with Cops Coliseum. I think once they get that done, then it makes sense to put a team in there. But the reason Andlauer moved the team out of there was that they basically said, yeah, we're going to renovate it, but you can't play here for a year. And so so there's a lot of red tape there. I just don't think that market's ready yet.
I understand.
So yeah,
This is good news.
It's great news. Great news.
Love
very,
that.
very cool. And hopefully they launch with names. They've got time.
I think they might have learned that lesson.
Yeah,
They've got time.
Pittsburgh would become the southernmost city in the PWHL.
And Pittsburgh is a 5-hour drive from Toronto.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Even
here's a map of where the teams are right now. Elite Prospects has one, and Pittsburgh's like right here, right?
Yeah.
It'd be the southernmost city.
Yeah.
Detroit would.
We also didn't mention
suit Minnesota just fine.
Yeah.
like they are so far away from the other 5.
And if Philly doesn't get one this round, I would think Philadelphia gets one the next one.
Yeah, Philly makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does.
You do gotta. So many people live in the Northeast.
Well, yeah. And as soon as the airlines stop charging insane amounts of money for small trips, then you can expand faster.
Well,
but it's too expensive.
You know how land doesn't vote?
Yeah.
Land also doesn't go to hockey games.
So just for like the geography of travel, if we go Pittsburgh's about here and Detroit's like here, like that's perfect, you know? And then you get closer to Minnesota with these teams. You have this little group of circle of teams. I think it just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the West is always going to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
I also think in a couple of years after that, they're probably, if they don't do Chicago or Philadelphia, they'll do that in the next round.
Chicago, I would say Chicago ahead of Philly. I think Chicago would be perfect market is for your first expansion, even more west of Minnesota.
Yeah. And I wouldn't do another team in Southern Ontario until Ottawa and Toronto's revenues stabilize. You got to make sure that they've got a good base of clients and sponsors. And, you know, there are people going to those games, and Toronto sold all of them out. But Toronto's going to be in a different arena this year. They're going to be in a bigger arena. That means the costs are up. And that means you got to make sure that you got a good fan base in there, show to advertisers, hey, this is worth sponsoring, build that client base. I think you're going to go states. You can scale much faster there. And, hey, listen, we got 3 teams right off the bat in Canada. Most people would have been like Toronto, Montreal, and that would be it. So we got 3. It's not bad. Not bad.
Could be worse.
Could be way worse.
Sorry, I was staring at the map there.
My bet is Buffalo gets a team eventually.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I wonder if the next 2, like, you know, we're talking about expansion, not this coming round, but the next one probably sometime before 2030.
Right.
I would imagine that the next round after this one is not 2 teams, it might be 4. Right? Because you get ownership groups together and
4 and 2 of them are Canadian?
no.
No?
4 of them are American.
No, Steve.
There's no Steve.
Adam hates Canada.
It's
You piece of crap.
it's
Yeah,
a money
what the
thing. It's
fuck?
completely down to money.
You're garbage.
Oh, wow.
It's completely down.
You really don't
I don't
like
know if you know this or not,
country.
but there's a lot more money in the States. A lot more. And a lot more people.
You're trash.
It's
Crazy. I know. It's crazy. Anyway,
You're going to wear your poppy?
yeah, of course.
Okay, just checking.
Just checking if you're trash.
Checking. I don't know anymore.
Oh, wow. I guess we'll leave it there. Should we leave it there? Let's leave it there.
babe.
Yeah, we'll do a big show tomorrow. Press conference.
We got to check in with our favorite dealership. Porsche North Detroit.
It's electric.
It is.
Oh, man. Have they reached out?
No, they haven't. Send.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.